Hello, I'm Lise Colucci, and I'm one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Hi, Angela. You are the first one at the party. Okay, here we go. So let's talk today about how narcissists waste your time, how they steal your time, really. Hi, Anastasia and Karina. How are you guys today? How's everyone doing, first of all? And Hannah. Hello, Hannah Lee. Sue, I'm waiting for this strange lag thing that it does, and then we'll get going. Hi, Lori Rose. Good afternoon, you guys. Okay, there it goes. All right. So if you've not already hit subscribe, please hit subscribe if you enjoy this type of thing. I try to come on here 3 to 5 times a week and talk. So there's that. If you like this topic, please hit the thumbs up. And if you want text notifications of my going live, please text me at 33222. That's the number you put in. And then just put the words Lise Live, all one word, LISE, in the text, the body of the text, and send it. And you will get a text 10 minutes before I go live, so you have notification. And that's it. Okay, so that's it. Goodbye. No, I'm kidding. So let's talk about how a narcissist steals your time, how they waste your time, how they use your time, and how time is sucked away by them. One terrible, terrible thing about narcissistic abuse is how much time it actually wastes of your life. Because not only do you have the time wasted within the relationship, but it's the time wasted thinking about them when you're trauma bonded. It's the time wasted healing from them. It's not wasted, but you know what I mean? It's stolen. It's time that could be used for other things. Now, what we do is we flip it around and learn to thrive. We flip the switch on that and flip this perspective on that and use what we have gone through to create better lives for ourselves. Therefore, it isn't wasted. However, it'd be nice to not have all this time wasted. And let's look at how they actually do it. So, or not how they do it, but some ways in which they do it. If you guys have ideas, speak up, because it helps me add to the content. All right. Time stolen trying to accomplish anything that requires their involvement. That's a really good one. Hi, Jack. That's a really good one. Anastasia. Is it? You can't answer me. Anastasia, 1, yes. Anastasia, 2, yes. Which one is it? 1 or 2? Okay. That's a really good one. If you're trying to get them to be involved in something, Anastasia, the easier way to pronounce it for me. Okay. All right. Yes. If you're trying to do anything that involves them, anything that requires their time, their effort, their energy, you are in for a ride of waiting. You are in for a lot of time wasted and a lot of time spent being frustrated with the fact that they won't do the thing, or they won't participate fully with the thing, or they take over the thing and need to do it their way, which then takes 10 times longer because they've got some convoluted, twisted way of doing something. Or, some of them may be really good with doing things and they take over, but they just won't do it. So yes, that's a lot of time wasted. Or they sabotage the thing. They sabotage the thing. And then it doesn't get done. And then nothing ever gets done and it's your fault, right? Okay. Because then they'll gaslight you after they sabotage it, and to make it look like you did the sabotaging or that you were the one that caused the problem. Okay, one huge thing is sleep deprivation and sleep abuse. They are notorious for keeping you awake. They're notorious for taking your time for sleep. It's like they can't do without the supply in the hours of slumber or something, but it's pretty much across. I very rarely hear of someone say, oh no, mine never kept me up. Never. I hardly ever hear that. Generally, if I say, did you, do you feel like do you had sleep abuse going on? That's, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was a thing, is what people say. And yes, he kept me up. She kept me up all the time. It's like they need you to be on fumes all day long, and then they do it again the next night. It's like they need to create argument in the middle of the night to I don't know, give themselves a burst of supply before they then fall asleep and in the like final act of silent treatment for the day, and you're sitting there frustrated and sad and whatever you're feeling, unable to sleep. That's the sleep abuse takes. What happens when you're sleep deprived? You can't function the next day. It not only steals the moment, and not only steals the night, but it steals the entire next day, going into the next night, which then goes into the next day and the next night. Sleep abuse is huge. You're exhausted all the time. High web education. And who else just came in? I said hi to Jack. Okay. Yeah, sleep abuse is bad. And the issue with sleep abuse is it messes with your own circadian rhythm. It messes with your own ability to sleep soundly on your own without them. And it can last a long, long time. It can be, for me, it was the most frustrating part of recovery. And I still struggle with sleep a little bit, actually a lot. But that is partially just how I'm made up. And partially it's, the sleep abuse. It sets a pattern that is so hard to break in your body. It's not psychological, it's physiological, right? So yes, it wrecks everything. So, okay, going on. They hate when you need them, right? Okay. They cripple you so you can't carry, so they can carry you to make you need them. That's right. Sabotage of time, also to make us late for things or mess with us to a point where we lose interest in going through with plans. So anytime you might, like, say you have a job to get to, say you work from home, say you work, it's not a 9-to-5 job, so there's no regularity to it. It's more, I think it's more, well, it's more an easier illustration this way. Let's put it that way. They do it across the board, but they will choose the moment you're leaving to have some sort of dilemma or tantrum or argument or fit or silent treatment you, which is the worst when you're heading out the door to go do a job or to go do whatever it is. But they totally mess with you when the time isn't spent on them and the time is spent on something in the world that you choose to be putting your time on or need to be putting your time on. More importantly, when you need to be, when it has to do with someone else, a job, your children, somebody else that needs your focus, they will steal it back by taking your time back, by forcing you to put your attention back on them. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Mine chooses the moment I'm leaving or it's too late to help, to suddenly be helpful. Oh, that too. The moment you're leaving and suddenly the helpfulness comes from them. It's like, it's a form of love bombing. So you can't say no because they're finally helping you. And it completely derails where you're trying to go. They derail you. They derail you from going from where your point A to your point B by forcing it onto their rail, right? And going their direction that they want you to go. She would wake up at 15, 30 minutes before I left for work and talk and tell stories so many times being late. Yep. They can do it in a positive way too, making it seem like this is just when we, blah, 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 and it's so fun, and draw you back in and not let, it's such a boundary pushing way of existence that doesn't allow for someone to use their time the way they need to use it, choose to use it, or whatever. It's manipulation. You can hear it, right? So, okay. They may make you wait for things. So say you're going to go somewhere, but they can't get themselves out of the house. They can, they just don't want to. And if you say, hey, we're going to be late, what happens? Oh, let's see those chat keys flying now. What happens if you say, hey, we're running late, let's go? It's never a good thing to tell someone who can't be told, who feels like people shouldn't tell them what to do when it's not even telling them what to do. It's just telling them that the time is up. Yeah, that doesn't usually fly too well, does it? No, because what happens is they go even slower and slower and slower and slower until you're, and if you say anything, well, what will happen? The argument will happen, and then the time will be later and later and later. That's the way it works. Awful. Okay. Another thing they do is they future fake and they make fake promises. Basically, they dangle a carrot so that you are spending your time focused on an aim. So you may have they may dangle some common goal, some aim, some grand life plan, some exciting trip, something. They'll dangle it in front of you as a carrot, right? And you start chasing that carrot and you start planning and focusing and putting your focus and attention on that thing. And then they'll pull the carrot back and they were future faking the whole time. They never had no intention of that particular thing. They just want your focus on them and on their goals and their thoughts and ideas. They want you to jump into their delusional world and ride life with them right there. But they don't want to give back. So yeah. I started a free training course to be an assessor, and she persuaded me to leave the course because I didn't want to study lower than my master's degree. I didn't even see it. Yeah. Yeah, see? And Anastasia, future faking has effed me over so much, I don't even want to think about it. Okay, we'll move on then. Don't think about it for right now. It's remembering that it's their delusion and you were an unwilling participant in that delusion. It's not your fault. Okay. Yeah, they all do the future fake thing. It's part of it. It's one of the bigger red flags, right? It can go on for decades. It can go on for it. It does go on for decades. Total waste of 10 years for me, says Angela Elizabeth. It is a total waste. It isn't, because when we heal, when we're healing, when we're working on self-growth, we're using all of the stuff that we learned through this to better ourselves. Not a total waste. However, it certainly feels the relationship itself, yeah, right? My narcissist just randomly called and proposed to me out of the blue. What? Like recently? All they do is waste our time. It is a total waste of time. And once we start seeing that it's a waste of time, that's why I'm pointing this out in the form of time to show people who are questioning whether they should stay or go, that this is all time, your life, your time wasted. You're throwing it away into the void because all of these things don't change. These are not things that you can just fix through conversation, through therapy, through talking, through demanding, through arguing. You can't. It won't change. Besides, we're not here to fix other people. We're here to work on our own lives. But also, there is no compromise in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. Therefore, these things will not change. These are things you live with and have to tolerate. It's a big old waste, right, of our time. Okay. My ex-wife did that. Plans to move to another country. I filled all the paperwork. She decided not to go, right? Yep, all the time. Okay, they derail you from your own projects and goals. We kind of talked about that a little bit. They take your focus when you need to get out of the house or when you're doing something. They will, all the things I think we've already covered that one. So let's keep moving. They do anything to get you focused on them and not your own goals and needs. We kind of talked about that too, didn't we? How they will put the focus back on themselves. They might suddenly get friendly, suddenly get nice when you're busy, suddenly be very needy, suddenly get very sullen. You're always questioning what they need instead of what you're doing. So then you're off doing your thing and you're wondering, are they mad at me? You're always thinking back to them. You're not just fully engaged and immersed in the thing you're doing. That's not healthy. We should be concerned a little bit for our loved ones, but not like that, right? Should be able to be engaged and fully present to what we're doing, not being drawn back into the wasteful world of the narcissist. So I think we covered love bombing as part of it. When they're love bombing you, it is nothing more than a waste of time because all it is a setup for the devaluing. It's just the flip side of the coin. So it's all a waste of time. They are like a cup. Bonnie is saying they are like a cup that has a leak in it. The more you give, it just drains out the perpetual leak in the cup. You can never fill the cup. Your efforts and time go straight into the abyss. Well put and absolutely true. Yes, it's never enough because there's nothing they're actually they're not actually seeking the thing we're giving. This is what I think. We think because what we want from someone, people with empathy, is the connection of that empathy, right? We want to connect on a level that is loving and has the empathy. It has the thing that allows you to feel the other person and have the other person feel you. We're looking for to be heard and listened to. And, these are all like healthy ways of relating, right? Like to also be able to be yourself and be seen is what we're looking for, right? Narcissists, not so much. I think they're just looking for the stimulation. And whatever that stimulation is what they're looking for. And so if it's being praised and called lovey-dovey names, it's not because that's a connection. It's because it's giving them the energetic everything of you. But they don't actually, you know what I'm saying? It's a different way of experiencing the world, really, from when you don't have any empathy in your awareness. Okay, keep me waiting 7 hours on Boxing Day for lunch. Yes, they keep you waiting. And she finally said, come over. None of them spoke to me because she said I was 10 minutes late. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So they'll waste your time by making you wait and wait and wait and wait and wait to do something like I talked about a little bit before. And then when you do the thing, they turn it into an argument or a way to devalue you or shut you down. Yep. They isolate you. They isolate you so you can't have a life. And that completely takes your time and focus and places it on them. You can see what I'm saying over and over again. All of these things are meant to put the focus back on the narcissist and off of the thing you're trying to put your attention on. It's a needy, grasping, energy vampire sort of way of existing for them, right? And we are constantly pouring into that void because otherwise we get devalued, we get discarded, we get shamed and gaslighted and all of that. So, okay. Hi, Paula. Okay. What did I say here? Oh, they make you worry about their whereabouts. So they may not tell you, and let's go back to isolated. If anyone has anything to say about that, I kind of went over it really quickly. So they may tell you where they're going or whatever. You may know what's going on, but somehow, somewhere in there's something convoluted that you don't know. Or they say they'll be home around 5 and they're not around until 7. And so between 5 and 7, you're wondering, what the heck, where are they? You're worried. They do things where it sets it up so that you're in constant worry about their well-being, their whereabouts, what they're doing. It's not that we're not trusting people, obviously, or we wouldn't have trusted them to begin with, right? It's that the way in which they interact with people makes it so that it's difficult to trust. And they don't give you the whole story often, so you are worried. Or they do give you the story and they're doing something dangerous or difficult, and so then you're worried. Your focus is on them. It's pouring your focus onto them. And so you're in a constant state of anxiety over them, which is a total waste of time. It's because our lives can't be lived for other people, right? Or another thing they might do is text you nonstop. The constant texting, the bombarding of, pay attention to me, look at me, I'm right here. Here I am. Text, 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 text. And it's, a lot of people who are codependent do the same thing. Over texting is not necessarily we don't need someone in our brain 24/7, right? We don't need someone's constant attention. Not when you think about it. If you think about it, that's pretty unhealthy. And it is kind of a form of love bombing or control, right? It's saying, pay attention to me, not what you're doing. And it's not a checking in and saying, hey, how are you? It's not sweet and it's not cute. So, and then it becomes controlling. It becomes totally controlling after a while, because then they're checking up on you and they're wondering where you are and why are you late and what are you doing and blah, blah, blah. So yeah. Lise, did you know there's a narcissist who runs his own channel on narcissists and actually diagnosed him back then? He's got 9 traits, which are rare. Nope. And I don't watch those because I don't care. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't read, watch, or participate in narcissists divulging what being a narcissist is like. I can ask them. I know some. And they tell me. I don't need that. I don't need ones that are out for what are they out for? Are they out to help you? Are they out for the good of mankind? Are they doing this out of the love and kindness of their hearts? What's their aim? I really, really, really personally do care about people's intent. I don't know your intent. I don't know, you don't know my intent, but you can assume it is benevolent because I'm not trying to manipulate anyone into anything, and I'm not glorifying any of this. I'm just pointing it out. So, I mean, we can't know another person's intent, but I can assume if they don't have empathy that their intent is not one of benevolence toward mankind. So, yeah, and I know they'll tell you how to deal with them. I don't care if it seems genuine. People are romanticized narcissists. People romanticize them when they're out there divulging all of this information. It's giving them supply. It's the ultimate supply. Okay, I can tell you sitting from this perspective, as a person sitting here, blah, 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 to you guys, okay? There's attention. You guys are all giving me attention. If I were a person that ate up that attention, it would not be enough. And I'd be out there seeking more and more and more attention. It'd be supply. For me, it's uncomfortable. Okay. I feel like it's awkward and uncomfortable, and I do it because it's what I do. And I do it to help people, not because of me, I mean, otherwise it'd be glamorous. But anyway, I just don't, whether or not it can help someone, I don't trust it and I don't like it. So I don't go there. But if it helps you, then by all means, I would be very careful. And I don't know, I get you. Weird. Is it weird? He was on World News. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. See, he was on World News. He's famous. Go him. I don't care. Yeah, benevolent is the opposite of narcissist. They're not, you have to understand, he's telling you what he is. People like that are telling you what they are. They're telling you how to handle people who are like how they are. What's their purpose? What's their point? Why? It's for themselves. They're telling you, I'm a selfish, self-centered, egotistical person who only thinks of myself. Why am I here for myself? I'm not here for you. I get off on knowing I'm messing up other narcissists' lives by giving you guys this information. To me, that's what they're saying. I don't know. I can't do it. Don't want to. So we're going to stop there. And please let the hate mail right in for that. But that's okay. All right. So what else they do? To take your time? They set the agenda for you. And see, that's the other thing I'm going to go back to that. That's the other thing I don't like is if you're listening to someone who is a self-professed and diagnosed narcissist telling you how to deal with narcissists, they're setting the agenda for you. I don't want them telling me what to do. I don't care if they know. I can figure it out for myself. I can see it. I don't need to experience what it's like to not have empathy to be fully cognizant and completely believe that someone doesn't have empathy. Does that make sense? That's all that I need to know. I don't need their anyway, they set the agenda for you. They do. And by doing that, you don't have your own agenda. Back to them again. So, and in that way, they're often they can dominate the relationship. They can become dominant in the relationship, even if it's through passive aggressive ways. Some of them can be more on the victim side, which makes them look less dominant, but they generally tend to dominate and control, right? That's the whole thing. They have to control because they have created a life based on their ego that is delusional, and they need that delusion to be real. And so they make everything around them seem real by controlling it. That's all. That's the gist of it. So yeah. Okay. I have cut mine off and I had to choose sanity. It feels really feels real. Narcissist told me that it's over, no contact, seems real. I'm now feeling for the first time this is real. So for me, I'm going to wait for you to finish that. Hi, Rachel. You're no contact and I'm dating someone new. Sometimes I feel we lack connection. Is this because I'm used to my ex being so intense, love bombing? I can't answer that because I don't know the situation, but I would ask where do you need the connection that you feel is lacking, and can you discuss it with them? Is that something you can bring up? Is it something that is reasonable to bring up? Are you looking for something that isn't connection, but is actually maybe, I don't know. I don't know what you're actually looking for and how this lack of connection is happening. I think it's natural to lack connection in a healthy relationship on and off. But if it's an extreme, and what I mean by that is I think it ebbs and flows. And I think when people are focused on their own lives as well as the relationship, it can become more intense and less intense as far as connection, the feeling of connection goes. But there should be some fundamental ways in which you connect that can bring it back to that. So I think that's an important conversation for new people in your life, is how can we create this connection, and what do you need? What do I need? And how can we make it work? And if someone is not, this is going to totally ring. My phone is going to do this. And I don't know how to make it stay. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So when you're lacking, okay. So anyway, yeah, that's a conversation to have. And if the person is not able to meet you where you need to be met, then there's obviously something more maybe going on. Okay. Hi, Iraq Freedom. And how's today going for you? Paula, I'm going to go back to what you were saying, Paula, that you are no contact now and it feels real, and you need to respect yourself and stop surrendering to the abuse. I think Lise said you're so used to being treated poorly by relationships that abandoned me. I got used to tolerating rude, selfish people. 100% probably true. We tolerate because of what we're used to. So we have to raise our standards by learning how to love ourselves and learning that what we will and won't accept as behavior from another person. And it's kind of going back to what Rachel was saying. If she feels like that she's lacking connection, that may be something really important for her. And so if she can't talk about it, then maybe that's something to not tolerate. Or if she can't, that's where we learn to set our boundaries, and we learn to raise our standards for how we'll be treated. And our standards, I don't mean we have to get snobby and all uppity. Standards being what? What are your standards? Treated well, kindness, mutual ability to connect, things like this things like that need to be higher up on our list than the tolerance has to come down, right? Okay, let's see. Time to redesign our lives and put ourselves first for a change, says Bonnie. That's right. All of this time that was stolen, all this time that was given, all this time that was wasted, however you want to word it, all the time that the narcissist takes, every second once you've gone and you're putting the focus onto them, it's pouring back into that void. Pour the other direction into yourself, and you're pouring drops into a big empty vessel that needs filling. Does that make sense? We are at the end of this so empty and so lonely and so sad, and so all of the things we feel, but we want to pour right back into the negative space, which is the narcissist. When we're trauma bonded, we want to think about them. We want to anything narcissist related. We want to dive into it, instead of pouring into the other direction, which is the self-care, the healing, the reworking our beliefs and our patterns and our thoughts, all this stuff that feels like climbing uphill. It feels more difficult. We don't want to do it. But that's the place where you're actually pouring into a vessel that doesn't have a big crack in it, that's pouring out into the void. As I can't remember who said that so lovely earlier, but that's where you're pouring into something real. So it really is about redirecting your own focus. How the heck did the switch happen? Them becoming the dominant one. Oh, because that's the nature of control. Because they, like I said, they have a delusional way of viewing the world based on their ego. So for every narcissist out there, there is a whole world that exists. So we don't live on one planet. If you have 10 narcissists in a room, there's 11 planets. There's the planet we're all on, and then there's 10 individual planets all going on. Like everybody has that too in one sense, right? We all have our perceptions, our views, our viewpoints, but we don't try to make everybody else live in that world, right? It's an actual, like, that's the way they see the world, their way. And so they have to take the dominance, because there's no give and take. They may take in, like, I experienced one that loved my insight, loved it. If it was when he wanted to hear it, or even when he didn't want to hear it, but he liked to feel that, the angsty thing, got to feel that. He didn't really want to change from it. He wanted to take it and use it to mirror it back as if he knew what he was talking about. He didn't want it to effectively change his own life. He didn't want to use it to grow. And not that I'm here to, do that for someone else, but that's how we are when we're in relationship with someone, and we're respectful and understanding of the other person's point of view. We don't want to hold. The difference is, we don't want to hold this like wall and say, this is how I am, I'm never going to change. We can't. That's what I talked about yesterday, right? We need to be able to be accepting of change and accepting of the fact that influences are around us, and choose those influences wisely so we change the way we want to change. But they don't want to change. So there's the dominance, there's the control, right? They have to hold on. Okay, in the support group I went to, someone was pointing out and asking if her narcissist has DID. And then I identified with thinking that, but seeing a smirk on the narcissist's face was so maligning, meaning intentional switch of personality to gaslight, maybe, and crazy make. And I think a lot of people feel like there's multiple different personalities coming out. Those are masks. It's not the same thing as DID. I don't know the ratio of people with that would be narcissists, but people I've known with that are definitely highly empathic people. Highly, highly empathic people. So much so that it forces the fragmenting of the alters to come out, because it's extremely sensitive and empathic people. But so I don't know what that could be, or if that's true at all, that they what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is, when people think there are multiple personalities going on and there's extreme narcissism going on, generally what you're seeing, because when I looked this up, and again, I cannot find this source. It was in a psychological journal, like what am I trying to say? Chat room for psychiatrists and whatnot. I don't know so anyway, they were saying, no, the narcissist has a multitude of half-formed personalities all pushed into one personality, and they interchange the masks intentionally. It's not a dissociative thing where they shift out and into another personality. It's an intentional switching of masks. So that's all I know about it. And I don't know how that was one source. And again, I cannot find it. So feeling the loss for the first time. That's why it feels real. But I told the narcissist Sunday she was a liar. So maybe she realizes I'm not playing the game anymore. So being ghosted. I think she's probably, Paula, the only way to cut them out is to cut them out. There's no waiting for them to come to the realization of who they are, what they are. That's waiting for some kind of closure is not going to happen. Waiting for them to go away generally doesn't happen. Unless you piss them off so much, they will go away. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily the best move for most people. So most likely the ghosting is a Hoover, or the silence is a tactic to make you think about her. So we have to cut it off within ourselves. And breaking the cycle means seeing what they are and not making excuses for them, not listening to them, not really seeing what they are. They're a person without empathy who does not have your best wishes, your best interest at heart at all. They don't. They're thinking about themselves. So you have to have your best interest at heart. All right. All the time and energy is still being focused on the narcissist. I was thinking today about my narcissist downstairs, the neighbor, and I walked by her and recognized my lack of response or reaction. Good. Okay. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That writer missed a few planets there. Narcissists are from their own world, yes. So they are black holes that suck the out of you. Yep. But we can get back. We can be better. We can pour into ourselves and understand that when you're pouring into yourself, it does not feel like the rush of attention you get from someone else or from a narcissist, for sure. When you get the narcissist attention, you're getting the mirroring of that back, right? You're getting the way you pour into them back at you when they love bomb. And so it feels big. Plus you've got the depletion factor going. You've got the devaluing. And when you have a love bomb after a devalue, we know what that does. It spikes your brain chemistries to where you're feeling fulfilled for a moment. That's not what it feels like when you pour into yourself. It feels like little tiny drops. Sometimes it feels like nothing. And then suddenly you feel better. So just keep working. It's never a bad place to focus on oneself, at least in this regard, you know. We don't stand for something, we will fall for anything. Web Education is saying, still working on this. Recently met someone who love bombed, ghosted, and breadcrumbed. I was able to walk away slowly. Yes. Oh, I just made it. Okay. Kadoke. Anything else, you guys? What am I missing? If I missed something, as I said, please remind me. I believe that mine seems aware of my reaction. She patronized me. Okay, here's my very blunt question. Who cares what she's aware of? Do you see how I gray rocked that? It's it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what they think. Every time you worry about what they think, you're covering up for them, Paula, for real. Every time we're worried about whether or not they're going to do something, it's another way to let them not be accountable. To let them be accountable is to walk away and slam the door. They treated you terribly. There's nothing more to say. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter an apology. It doesn't matter if they understand it. They can understand it. They can fully understand it, and it still doesn't matter because it's not gonna help anything. So yeah. Even when you go no contact, their narcissistic injury comes out in droves. They will try to get revenge on you big time. They might. The only way to end it is for you to end it. The only way for you to say no is to block. It's to block them. That really is generally the only way. They'll come back 20 years later. They really, really will. I promise. Not all of them. Not all of them. They can. Let's put it that way. Okay. It's letting go of what we need from them. That's the hard part, I think. Letting go of what we need. What do you think you need, Paula? What do you think? Or anyone who's stuck in this push-pull ending? You're in Groundhog's Day, right? Where you just keep repeating the same ending over and over again. You keep repeating and repeating and repeating because there is no change. It's not going to change. What is it that you're seeking and looking for that you're not able to let go of within yourself? That's how I would have to look at it. There is no hope. You're right. I cannot believe I contemplated living with this person. And now I know now she's messed up. Okay. It shows your self-respect needs work. Maybe, I don't know. You would know, right? Yourself, where you're focusing. So much of it's where we're focusing. Get the focus back on you, not on her. Any thoughts on creating a fake diversion for a narcissist while you are working an escape plan? Like if they are super invasive in its manipulation, but sometimes it's necessary. I don't know what you're asking. Don't give them any information. Give them false information. Lead them where you want them to be. Oh, the dogs are going to bark because here come the kids. You guys, we called it. All right, you guys, I'm working. And they slink away. Okay. All right. I'm going to end here in a minute anyway. So, okay. I'm stuck in the stagnancy, though it's an SOS situation. I feel like a little kid scared. I'm not able to understand. I don't understand. There wasn't a dog fight. It was dog protecting. Outward, that's not what my problem is. I know it. Okay, wait, I'm lost. Okay. My sister came back 20 years later recently, and she's exactly the same narcissist she was when she left my town, 20 years older. Yep, you called it. That's how it looks. That's how it is. No matter what they say or how much they say they've changed and the growth that they've made in their life, it'll wind right back around, and it'll come fast usually because their masks aren't on as tightly, right? These, I hate being told can you restate that, Paula? I'm not following. I hate being told over and over what to do, and clearly I'm not listening. Say more. I'm not following you there. And Iraq, what specifically? Because I don't know. That's too vague for my brain. What specifically are you trying to all make the situation so that you can hide what you need to hide? Narcissists don't learn. Not even time changes them for the better. They usually get worse and more devious. That's right. I need to get out of the trauma bond. There is part of me, this is Eric, part of me that doesn't want to subscribe to the idea that I'm in one. But I am. Struggle with taking action, like looking for work. Okay. And that's kind of what we're talking about, is putting the focus back on yourself. The trauma bond steals your focus back. It's more time wasted. Time wasted. And this is your life that you get to live. It's not your life that you're living for them. Does that make sense? And when you're trauma bonded, you're living your life for someone else. You're not living for yourself at all. So things like looking for work, things that are difficult to do because it means change and motion forward, are exactly the things you probably need to be doing, right? Not only to better your life, but to get out of a situation, but also to break the trauma bonds. When our focus is where we focus is where we're looking, like when if you've ever ridden a horse, okay, if you've ever gone horseback riding, it's the same on a bicycle or a motorcycle, I would assume. If you've ever ridden one of these things where you're sitting and you're vulnerable and you are maybe a little afraid because it has speed and it has power. If it's a horse, it has a mind of its own, right? And you're looking down. Any good trainer who's teaching you will say where you look is where you're going to go. That's what we do with our focus. Where you look is where you're going to go. If you're jumping over a jump on a horse, you're staring at the ground, chances of you coming off are higher than if you're looking toward where you want to land, right? And looking forward toward where you want to ride. This is what they teach you with horses. And so I'm applying it here because where you're looking is back at the trauma bonds, and you need to be looking forward at your own life, or right in the present moment at your own life, to be able to move forward, right? So that's how it works. How do you break the trauma bond? You just start. You start doing it. We're doing exactly what I'm saying. You start, I love horses too. I miss them. But you start focusing on yourself. You stop looking back at the narcissist. You stop worrying about what they think, worrying about what they, and it's not like you can just stop. It takes effort. It does. It's slow, and it is what it is. You just keep moving forward. You know what my narcissist is taking? It's disrespect on the highest level. She's a cleaner, for God's sakes. What am I doing? It's okay. It's just, this is trauma bonds. This is what it is. You know, we look back, we keep ruminating on them. We overanalyze them, all this time wasted, all this stuff we talked about earlier. Yeah. Okay. Lise, can you talk about regrets and shame that we often feel when the victim usually wakes up to the abuse? What do you mean when the victim, so when we wake up to what has happened, to all this time wasted, how we feel shame and regret about it? Hi, Misty Dawn. Yes, that's grief. That's where we grieve. You gotta grieve. You gotta grieve this stuff, mega friends. This is not easy. And Paula and Iraq, who are talking about the letting go part, and Bonnie with the shame, there's a grief process that happens that you go through. And you're not grieving this person. Once you see who they are, you don't want them anymore. Once you really, really, truly see it, once the trauma bonds fade and they, they're more in the distance, what you're truly grieving is the loss of self. You're grieving the loss of the time wasted. You're grieving the energy and the love that you poured into something that was not what you thought it was. The only way to do it is to go through it. That's just the way it is. It is painful. And the more you allow yourself to grieve it and give yourself nurturing and love and kindness and respect around that grieving and honor the process of the grieving, I think the easier it is. I think that we don't want to get stuck there in that shame and grief, but we need to feel it at least for some time. And having a support system, that is the number one reason I set up the group coaching, was so people would have a place to have peer support as well as coaching support while they're going through any part of this process. But in particular, the part where you feel isolated and alone in our shame and regrets. And so there's that if you need it. But remembering always that you didn't know what you didn't know, and you couldn't have known it. And even when we did know and we can't get out, so even when you're at the point where you know and you can't get out, you can't see outside the trauma bond until you're outside of it. It's pulling your attention. You're staring at the ground riding the horse. It's pulling your attention toward the ground. You can't see the forest you're riding in because you're staring at the ground. That's nothing to be shameful for. That's the way trauma bonds work. So until you're outside of it, it's honoring that each place you were at was where you were. And is that making sense? Shame. I'm going to do a whole thing on shame. I'm hoping this week. So we'll talk more then, but that's a start. Okay. It's bloody, sticking, marshy, smelly, eye-watering field to walk through, isn't it? It sure is, except I can say it with your accent. And I'm not even going to fake it because that's just icky. All right. At least I know I'm getting better every day. Every time it seems less intense, but it's like you have to go around and round to lessen the pain before you... Okay, Paula, what I'm saying is sometimes you got to feel it. This is the part that's hard. If you keep going back to, if you're going back to the source of the pain to relieve the pain, you're stuck in the trauma bonds. That is the trauma bond. That's the cycle of trauma bonding. Pain, relief, pain, relief, pain, relief. Just because it numbs when you dissociate from it, when you step out of it, that isn't making it better. You got to cut them off. Step away. This is why it's so hard for people to break trauma bonds when they have no choice but to maintain contact. They can do it. It takes a lot of time and it takes extreme effort in separating oneself from that narcissist. Does that make sense? So if you have the opportunity and you're able to be no contact, it may hurt a little bit more all of a sudden. And that's okay. That's normal if that happens. What that is feeling what you needed to feel when you were numbing up in order to tolerate. You're going back into that tolerance every time you talk to them. You don't want the tolerance. You want it to hurt. It should hurt when someone gaslights you. It should feel totally offensive. It should feel horrible when someone gaslights you, not like you can take it because you know how to gray rock. Does that make sense? We only learn those coping skills because we have to maintain. Once we're out, no more, no more. You have to learn that that is not tolerable behavior and you walk away from anyone doing it. Okay. Just like wasting, hi Mo Cowboy, just like wasting your life by trying to change a narcissist. You can waste your life by trying to change the genetic temperament of a horse. Exactly. That too. That's another nice horse analogy, right? Let's just talk horses all day and we'll be happy. Yeah. It is like truly heartbroken. It's truly heartbroken, but you still have the place you haven't put your focus in so long that's sitting, waiting, empty, and that is yourself. And as you pour back into that, the heartbreak can be there and the love for yourself can start to grow at the same time. Sounds weird, but it's true. It's not like it's getting healing isn't like I'm terrible. Oh my gosh, I'm so great. It's I'm terrible and I'm so great at the same time, half the time, for a long while until it balances toward the negative fading into the background because you're able to put your focus on you. Stop looking at the ground and jumping over fences on horses. Look forward. Okay. Look ahead. I feel like you were the mother that gave me advice I never got. I love it. I'll be the mother that gave you advice. Okay. Let's see. I learned tons while with the narcissist. Stinks it ended the way it did, but at least it was a learning experience. But 10 years is better than 11, and 19 is better than 20, I guess. That's right. Wherever you're at, that's where you are. Go forward. We can't look at our life with regret because then we're wasting the next moment. It's a mindset. And that's, but you got to grieve to get there, right? We got to do the grief we need to do. And remember that when you're in grief, you're not wasting time. You're purging the toxins out of you. Okay. It's when we hold on to that grief for long periods of time and start to believe that that's all there is. So as you're feeling bad and as you're having all these, experiences of letting go, it's also, I didn't say just sit there and grieve. I said self-care as much as you can. I mean, that's another, reason I have group is to help people with that because it's daily check-in kind of thing sometimes for people to keep moving in that mindset. Okay. Best way to move through the trauma bonds while being in shock, PTSD, and decreased health too, like immune system problems. Focus on your body, focus on your health, focus on keeping toxicity away from you, keeping a journal of what you're feeling because the shock is going to wear off and you're going to start feeling. Keeping your focus on positivity that as much as you can. And with the immune system problems, I mean, obviously it's getting the healthcare you need, but just to me, it sounds like your body's screaming. So I would be working on my body and the tensions in my body and meditation and things that help give your body what it's asking for, which is some care, right? Okay. I can't, Iraq is saying, well, it was saying something and then I just lost. Okay. I can't help hating the feelings that come up because of hating the feelings are exactly what I was raised to do because I was never allowed to feel without repercussions. It's challenging. So, I mean, focusing on what you love about yourself. What are 3 things you love about yourself every single day for the next week? Okay, go start there. 3 things every day. Make them new things. You can do it. Totally can do it. It can be anything. It could be the tip of my nose. I don't care. Just do it. Start working on that so that you see how much you matter. All right. Recovering horse addict. Me too. Me too. Okay. The brain fog is a waste of time, Suzanne is saying. It sure is. You don't know what day it is or year. It's awful. I forget to turn the cooker off. Yeah. And that's why it's important to actively heal. This is not a passive healing. It's active, right? Hi, Phil. Life itself is so precious. If like me, you feel it's hard to leave at this moment in time, at least start slow. But crucially, start to focus on you. You'll have so much revealed to you. That's right. That's right. Put the focus on you. In a healthy relationship, it should be there anyway, right? You should be able to combine it. But the focus on the relationship and oneself. Yes, this new focus, get a new group of pals that are respectful, treat you fair, and have fun. I go to a lot of concerts down at the beach, connecting with old friends and making new ones. Bonnie, that's awesome. Okay. Yes, journal too, the meditations. I will try hypnosis too. Good. Okay. Is there any element of pride to this? I think singleness has a bad societal connotation. What do you mean? Is there an element of pride to this? Ask that in a different way. I'm not following you. I'm a freelance trainer. I do notice these members make a beeline for me, and I just want to pour their negativity out onto me. Oh, yeah. I've gotten to that stage. I say, unless it's positive, stop right there. Good. And that's good for them too, right? Unless it's positive, stop right there. That's not what we're here for. Trainer, do you mean like athletic trainer? Because what my Pilates coach does is she says, check it at the door. That we're here for Pilates. Thank you. We're here to be positive and speak positively about our bodies and ourselves. We're not here for the negativity. We're not here to bitch. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see what else. Why is it my behavior is attracting these types of negative people? They focus on, I don't know that it is. I think it's that we have to learn the boundaries to not let, like you're doing. I think there's a period of time where that happens. And as you set the boundaries and you become more positive in yourself, people don't want to approach you with the negative as much. Does that make sense? Because if you're it's like a wall of positivity and they say something negative, it just goes against it. And you're like, whoa, hey, you know what? We're going to focus on this today. We're going to work on your whatever, and change it to the positive. Then it's not as much of a hardline boundary as a diversion into something positive. And I think people just like to complain. I don't know that it's necessarily you're attracting them or if it's just that's people. People love to complain. They love the negativity often because they haven't learned how to build self in a positive way, right? Okay. Right. Are we missing something else? Wait, web education, you're asking something and I'm lost. Like if there's an awesome thing to be single if it was an awesome thing to be single according to society, would the withdrawal be as bad? There is a lot of awesome things according to society. It just depends on which society you're looking at. Is it that we just don't want to be single? Often we don't want to be alone. I mean, some people do, but mostly we want, and especially when we have my dog's dreaming. Do you hear him? Oh, he's chasing things. Hey, Oswald, wake up, buddy. Hey, you're all right. Poor buddy. What do you chase? Can't stop that one. It's pretty cute though. He's running with his little paws too. He's chasing something. Okay. I think it is often that we are afraid to be alone. Yes. That keeps us from, being alone. and we need to be, because we don't need to be alone, but we need to not have the toxic people around. And sometimes that means being alone for a while, and it's okay. Let's see. Let's see how. So that's disgusting. How? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm lost. I lost. Okay. Fitness. Yes. I'm glad it's helping. Phil, any other questions you guys have or anything you want to talk about? It's jumping all over. So I'm losing the chat flow here. You thought it was your dog? She makes the same sound. You were talking to Millie. Oh no, it was him dreaming. He's done that since puppy. Yeah. Okay. My father actually said how my sister, who died 5 years ago, took their family burial slot when she died, and now they are being buried in Florida. So that's when you just go, oh. There's nothing to say to that. So I would say Iraq Freedom, that it's letting go of the emotional attachment to what they say and do. They're never going to be different than they are. So finding the difference in yourself, number one, you're a much more compassionate and caring person, obviously. And then surrounding yourself, if you can, with only the people that live up to what you need in their own empathy standards, right? So that this is a huge contrast to what they're saying, is a huge contrast to how other people would behave. And then you just roll your eyes at it because there's nothing to say to that. It's awful. Misty Dawn says, I love being single. I have kids and I'm never alone. So I want to cuddle your puppy while he dreams. Jack is saying, Lise, with me being alone now and in the camper van, I'm meeting so many people, all different. Isn't it interesting? We choose a different path in our life, right? It's so great. My dog's barking in response. So funny. It is International Bark Hour. We can do it on the hour every live stream. No, let's not. At least through the summer while children are home. That was a unique dream one where I couldn't actually, yeah. So when the Hoover comes, no reply, right? No reply ever again. You're done. How's that? Door slam. Pow, done. No more. No more. Block that negativity out of your life. No more. You deserve a life, Paula. It's not one that's pulled back into somebody else's crap, you know? And that's all a narcissist is going to do, is pull you under. They're like drowning in the water, but they know how to swim. It's just they're choosing it. And instead of treading water, they're pulling you under and using you as a flotation device. Don't let them do it. I have weird analogies today, but there we go. Hi, Kathleen. How are you? Okay, I'm going to end real soon here. We're past an hour, but you guys are all so chatty. I just keep going. Let's see. I guess it takes different amounts of time to move through the grieving process. It totally does. And grieving isn't one thing, you guys. Healing from narcissistic abuse. I'm going to have to move here. Sorry. Healing from narcissistic abuse is now one thing. You're not going to have a cut on your finger and you let it heal. It's layers and layers and layers. It's in every area of your life. You could make a pie chart of what parts of your life you have. You got your spiritual life, your emotional life, your cognitive mental life, your physical life, your friendships, your work. You got all these things. It's in all of them. Okay. Because the narcissistic abuse is pervasive and it permeates everything. So it's not one thing. You can't just it's not like going to a spa and sweating it out and grieving, or getting the flu and having a fever and it goes, once the fever is gone, you feel better. It's like you get these lingering bits in all of your life. So you grieve each piece as it comes up, and triggers happen. You'll grieve. It's okay. Get over it. Move on. You know what I mean? I don't mean that like it's simple. I just mean that it's each piece is what we do when we jump over each little hurdle as it approaches. So yes, it takes time. However, if you can look at your life, you can see areas, and we talked about this with thriving the other day, areas where you are thriving and areas where you're not. So you just start working on the balance, right? And working on filling in the areas where you're not and honoring the areas where you are thriving, that is, and then grieving where you need to grieve, and lots of self-care. Okay. I can't stop the emails that come through my phone. Then my empathic self gets curious. No curiosity. Oh boy, no. Hey, Oswald, that's okay. It's kids. I think I have 5 children in my house. Hey, Oswald. Shh. All right. No, you guys. I am working, and you're making the dogs bark. Sorry. I'm working, guys. Hey, dogs. I know they got woken up from like stone cold sleep. Hey, Oswald. Thank you, buddy. All right. You guys, I'm working. I can't answer you right now. Hi. Okay. I think we're done. Done for today. I lost my train of thought. Don't know what I was saying. And here we go. Okay. Oh, Ruby, thank you. Thank you, Ruby. Should I just let it happen? Hey. They both went. So funny. All right. Okay. Sorry. Wow. 2 more weeks in school starts. They do know what time. Well, no, it's because the children were running like elephants upstairs. Come running and then pounding on the door. Mom. Okay. Anyway. Curiosity. No curiosity. No looking. It was important what Paula was saying. Let me go back here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay. You have to go. We're done today.
Someone's here.
Okay. I have to go. Someone's at my door. So, if you haven't, I've already said all the wind up stuff. You guys have a good day. We'll talk tomorrow. Bye. All right.